So lots of options in child's pose. So you can take the knees nice and wide. You can give your body space to come closer to the ground. Or if you want more of like a surrender, restful child's pose, you can have the knees tight together and rest on the knees. If you have any knees or hip pain, this doesn't feel good, you can get a similar kind of grounding just by bringing your belly to the ground and laying flat there. So choose what works for you. And as you come to the mat, just taking some time here to see what shows up in the mind. So just noticing before we start to make some adjustments. How does the breath feel? What parts of the body might feel sore? And then you can start to invite a deeper breath. Maybe using that visualization of the breath flowing along the spine. Inviting that evenness to the inhale and the exhale. And just being sure to exhale all the air out before you take in that next inhale. And as you keep that breath going, taking a moment to set an intention for your practice so that when the mind wanders to the to-do list or the should-have-done list, you can try to keep the mind present and really make this practice the most you can get out of it. Might be staying connected to the breath, dedicating your energy somewhere else, maybe something you're working on personally or something to release. And see if you can create a little mantra that can go with that intention. Just a short phrase that you can repeat in your mind or remind yourself when the mind inevitably wanders. And on your next inhale, you're going to really firm up the hands into the mat. And just take a walk with the hands over to the left, as far as the body can go, and then really push that right hip down towards the heel, and then drop the forehead back down. Take a couple deep breaths, opening up that right side body. On your next inhale, moving back through center and all the way over to the right. Same thing, other side. Really stretch it as far as you can go and then sink that left hip down. Release the head down to the mat. On your next inhale, coming back through center. And really taking a moment just to scooch the knees together if you have them wide. Spread the fingers, push into the palms. And on your next inhale, you're going to slither yourself forward onto your belly. All right, from here, we're going to open the arms out to a T. Bring that right hand nice and close. Kick up that right foot so you can roll yourself over onto our first little shoulder stretch. So you can determine how far you're rolling will determine how far you're stretching. So don't have to really push yourself too far as we're still warming up. Just make sure you're resting the head on the ground so you're not straining the neck. Next, inhale, rolling back through center, extending the arms, taking it to the other side. Rest the head on the mat. Next inhale, coming back through center. Bring the hands really nice and close to the chest. Squeeze the elbows in, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Just with a couple breaths, we're gonna take a little baby cobra. So as you inhale, you're gonna lift yourself up and squeeze the shoulder blades back together. You're engaging the core. And as you exhale, you bring it back down. Let's take 2 more breaths like that. Inhale. So you're using so much core that you could maybe lift your hands, yeah? Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. This time, feel free to use the hands and grow a little bit. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale. All right, we're gonna push it all the way back to that child's pose. We're gonna move with breath. Inhale, slither it forward. Get that baby cobra spot. So we're not coming all the way down. We're staying in that cobra. Exhale, push it back to child's pose. 2 more times. Inhale, slither it forward to your cobra. Exhale, push it back. Last one, inhale. Exhale, stay nice and low. Inhale, coming up to our tabletop. All right, so knees under hips, hands under shoulders. Just take a moment to shake out the hips, move side to side, maybe draw some 8s, figure 8s with the hips. Then come to find that neutral spine, coming into a cat-cow. You're gonna push the tops of your feet so much into the mat that your knees lift just like an inch. Feel that wrap around the core, push into the fingertips, and then slowly let the knees come back down, but keep that core engagement, keep that engagement in the feet. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, take the gaze up. As you exhale, push the spine to the ceiling, tuck the chin. 2 more. Focusing on lengthening your breath and matching the movement to your breath. Inhale, coming back to neutral. We're gonna inhale, let that right leg float back. All right, so you can always keep it on the ground if you need to and just work it from that tap back. If it's available, lift it up. Take a big inhale here. As you exhale, curve and round. Bring the knee as close to the chest as you can. Inhale to lengthen. Point nice and long. Exhale. Push all that air out. Lift it up. Inhale. If you want to add in that balance, bring that left hand into the mix. Exhale. Tight ball. Inhale. Long and lengthen. 1 more. Inhale, lengthen. Drop that left hand down, drop that right foot back just behind your toes. So it's parallel to the back of your mat. Really firm up that left hand, push into the fingertips, and lift that right arm up to the sky. So we're coming into a modified side plank. We'll do some more side planks in the future. You can always come back to this initial version, which is really gentle, but you're still feeling that wrapping around the core. You're pushing that right hip up. You're stacking the shoulders, really wide open chest here. Little squeeze of the shoulder blades behind you. Inhale. Exhale, right hand down, right knee down. We're taking it to the other side. Left foot comes back, float it up. Deep inhale. Exhale, curve and round. Inhale. Exhale. Push all that air out. Inhale, maybe that right hand comes in the mix. Exhale, tight ball. Inhale. Exhale, moving with your own breath, lengthening the breath. Once more, inhale, lengthen it out. Exhale, hand down, left foot intersects with that back foot. Inhale that left hand up to the sky. Stack the hips, stack the shoulders. Feel that engaged core. Push into that right hand so you can get a little lighter off that right hand. Really using the core. One more deep breath. Exhale, left hand down, left knee comes back, just taking a cat-cow neutralize. Inhale. Exhale. Back to neutral. Inhale, that left hand up to the sky. As you exhale, thread the needle, bring that left shoulder down onto the mat. Left hand, head rests on the mat. Right hand is right here, or you can walk it forward. You can kind of see and feel what feels best for you. Other option, you might lift that hand up to the sky, might even tuck that hand back behind. See what gives you the best stretch. Take one more deep breath. All right, so wherever you are at, you're gonna either have your hand forward or your hand in front of the face. You're gonna see if you can tuck the right toes and walk that foot back a bit, all right? So these are, we're going in stages here. You might stay right here, or you might play with a little, so this is like a little shoulder balance. You're pushing into this top right hand, you're pushing into the left shoulder, and you see if you can lift that right foot up, making a nice straight line with your whole body, diagonal line. So it's a little, it's like a modified fallen angel pose, I guess we'll call it. Slowly bring that right knee back. Nice. Bring that right hand in front of the face. Inhale, left hand up to the sky. Exhale, left hand down. Inhale, exhale, cat-cow. A little neutralizing in between sides. We'll take it to the other side. So we're going to inhale this time. The right hand up to the sky. Really stretch as you exhale. Thread that needle down. Drop the shoulder in the head. Staying right here for a moment. Maybe bring that left hand forward. Maybe up and over if you want to tuck it back. You just find what works best for you, where you really feel a good stretch in the shoulders. All right, and you might stay here, or you might play with tucking those left toes, pushing firmly into that front hand and that shoulder, and seeing if you can bring that left foot back. All right, you might pause here, or you might play with lifting that left leg up. So we're using core, we're using balance, pushing into that hand and that shoulder. One more deep breath. Bringing that knee back down. Left hand places so you can swing it all the way back up. And we'll take a cat-cow here. Coming back to neutral. You're gonna sit back towards child's pose. I'm gonna give you guys a couple options here. This is one last little shoulder opener before we flow. So in child's pose, you could choose to probably reverse prayer would be the most wide open shoulders. You could grab opposite elbow, or you can intertwine your fingers and try to bring that fist up. All right, if you're feeling like you just need a child's pose and you don't want to add in anything extra, that's okay too. We'll take one more deep breath here. Wherever your hands are at, we're going to release, bring the arms forward, tuck the toes, and bring ourselves into our first down dog. So take time to pedal up the feet, shake the hips, wag the tail. Any movements that feel good or necessary in that first down dog, go ahead and take them. And then come into some stillness in your down dog. Feel the hips get nice and high and lifted. Bend the knees as much as you need to get that straight line from your wrist crease to your tailbone. Slowly over time, you can work towards straightening the legs, but not the goal. Just energetically feel the heels reach for the ground and the hips reach for the sky. Inhale, come to the tiptoes. Exhale, bring yourself to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift, nice long neck. Exhale, tuck the chin, bring yourself into your forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up, reach nice and tall, gaze up to the thumbs. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll come into our Surya Namaskar A, or sun salutations, to continue to warm up the body. Inhale, bring the arms up nice and tall. Feel your spine lengthen. Exhale as you dive down, hinging at the hips, coming into that forward fold. Inhale, half lift, hands to shins or ground. Exhale, plant the hands, step walker, float it back to your plank. Either keeping the knees lifted or lowering them down, slowly coming all the way down, keeping the elbows tucked in tight to the body. Untuck the toes, push into the tops of the feet. Inhale to your cobra. Exhale, lower yourself down, tuck the toes, maybe push up or through the knees to plank, and then bring yourself back to your downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths here. Slowly working on bringing the heels energetically towards the ground, releasing any tension in the neck. Inhale to the toes. Exhale, step walker, float it to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, deep fold, tuck the chin into the chest. Inhale, bring yourself all the way up, reach nice and high, gaze to the thumbs. Exhale, hands to heart center. Round 2. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, hinge, dive down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step walker, float it back to plank. Maybe keeping the knees up, maybe dropping them down, lowering down, or maybe to chaturanga, or half push-up. Untuck the toes, maybe pushing up to upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, push the hips back, downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths. Inhale to the toes. Exhale, bring yourself to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, deep fold. Tuck the chin into the chest. Inhale, sweep it up. Press the palms together. Exhale, hands to heart center. Just pausing a moment here. Really zip the legs together, bring the feet together. Feel the tailbone tuck just a bit. Feel the chin tuck just a bit so you get that spine really nice and long. Hands to heart center or into Tadasana, mountain pose, hands up the side. Just closing the eyes briefly. Little balance pose just to see kind of how centered or grounded we're feeling. Next inhale, we'll bring the arms up. Exhale, dive it down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step walker, float it back. Taking your vinyasa, your flow, meeting a downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up to the sky into our 3-legged dog. And then as you exhale, bend that knee, bring that knee towards the chest, just as we did in our cat-cow. Pausing here for a moment. So we're in our plank And then we're gonna try to step that foot down. So it helps us really think about getting that our body high to be able to step it through. You can always just lift your foot and bring it through too though. As we inhale, we're gonna drop the hips as low as we can as we gaze up. You can always have that back knee on the ground. Exhale, push the hips back, bowing over that front leg, trying to get your leg as straight as possible. Inhale, bring it forward. Exhale, straighten, bowing. Really think about keeping your knee, your ankle, and your hip in alignment, so not letting that kind of push out. Take it through one more round at your own pace. And then we'll inhale, come forward to that runner's lunge. So you can still have your back knee down if you need to. Plant that left hand. Inhale that right hand up. We're coming into a twist. So we're stacking our shoulders, keeping our hips square towards the front, and twisting at the core. Think about really, rather than just using this arm to twist your shoulders, think about trying to twist more from the lower body, from our abdomen. Deep inhale. Exhale, right hand's gonna travel back down, and you're gonna wiggle that right foot out to the edge of your mat, okay? So we're mixing it up a little bit today. Realizing you can't really see. So we're coming into lizard lunge, all right? So our right foot is out on the edge of our mat, and our hands are inside that right foot. So you can stay right here, all right? If it's available, you're gonna play with just dropping the left forearm down. So this is the easier of the two, the lower. You might wanna drop that back knee if that's too intense to stay up. Or you might be able to drop the right arm down. So that's the full expression of the pose as we're in this runner's lunge. We're bringing that in on the outer edge of our tricep to connect with the inner part of our leg. We're coming into lizard. I like to call it gecko pose in Malaysia though. One more deep breath. Bringing maybe first up that right hand, left hand, straighten both legs, and then bring yourself around to a wide-legged fold on the edge, to the edge, long edge of your mat. All right, so once we're there, you're gonna inhale, half lift, get really long. As you exhale, let gravity let you come on down as far as the body will allow. Wherever you end up, release the neck and head, and you can choose what arm variation. So you could just keep the hands here. You could maybe reach to grab the ankles. Maybe you want to bring the palms through, so you can bring the crown of the head maybe a little lower. Take a couple more deep breaths. Then bringing the hands back in front of the face, so you can inhale to that half lift. And then we're gonna exhale, come to the back of your mat. So now we're doing the runner's lunge, but on the back side, left side. Inhale, sink the hips down, gaze up. Exhale, push the hips back, straighten both legs. Moving with your own breath. Maybe even closing the eyes when we do these really simple movements. So you're thinking more about how the muscles and the joints are feeling. Taking one last round. Meeting in that runner's lunge. Plant that right hand firmly. Inhale that left hand up. Once again, think about engaging the core, bringing the belly button towards the spine. Really twisting at the abdomen, stacking the shoulders, keeping that hip in alignment with knee and ankle. One more deep breath. And then bringing both hands to the inside of the left foot. So we're going to lizard on the other side. Now our leg and left arm are really connecting. You might choose to drop that knee. You might keep it up, either one. And then you can play with seeing if first you can drop that right arm. Maybe you can also drop that left arm. Maybe then you get there and that's too intense and you want to drop that knee. So whatever feels right for you. Couple deep breaths here. You can drop the head if it feels good, or you can just look straight down, but we don't want to look up and tense the neck. And slowly start bringing one arm and the other arm. We're going to come to straighten our legs again. One more time, coming to the long edge of our mat. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, forward fold in that wide-legged stance. You might heel toe the feet a little wider. Toes point in a bit to help you with that balance. And then take any arm variation that feels good to you. If you want to continue that sort of shoulder opening, you can even interlace the hands. One more deep breath. Hands come back in front of the face. Half lift to inhale. Exhale, bring yourself back to the front of the mat. Hands on either side of your right foot. We're going to step it back. You can choose to come straight into down dog, or you might take back flow. All meeting in downward facing dog. Once we get to down dog, let's walk the hands back to the feet. So you're walking toward the back of your mat for a forward fold. We can, we're gonna go into gorilla pose, but if that doesn't feel good for you, you can just grab opposite elbow. Gorilla pose, we're gonna bend the knees, and then we're gonna slide the hands underneath the feet. And your toes should be right at your wrist crease, so you can wiggle your toes to give your wrist a little break. Shake out the head, yes and no. This is a nice stretch to do before we do a little bit more side plank. This gives the wrist a nice break. We're going to slowly, one by one, release the hands. Inhale, half lift, exhale, just walk it back into your downward facing dog. All right, so we're gonna play with just a little bit of balance here. Bring your hands a little bit closer together so that you're almost making a heart with your thumbs and pointer fingers. And then you're gonna take your right hand and reach back and try to either grab your calf or your thigh or maybe your ankle. All right, so we're building a little bit of arm strength here, doing a little bit of a twist. You might be able to look under that left armpit. And then release that right hand back. We'll take it to the other side right away. So remember bringing the hands together. And then taking that left hand to right ankle. Maybe gazing out under the armpit. Really push firmly into the whole right hand. Inhale, bring it back to center, coming back to your down dog. And then dropping the knees down. We're gonna come into a couple rounds of side plank before we go into our flow, just focusing a little bit more on strength here. So we're gonna come into plank and transition from plank, but remember you can always transition instead through the knees instead of plank, okay? So if you're gonna come into our full next expression, we're gonna come start in plank, and you're gonna turn the feet stacked like so, coming onto the right side first. Inhale that left hand up. If this is not comfortable on the wrist, you can also go into your forearm plank, okay? I'm gonna take one more deep breath here, stack shoulders, really push that left hip up. Bring that left hand, I'm gonna swim it forward, bring it back down. I'm gonna take it to the other side straight away. Inhale that right arm up, push firmly into that left hand. Toes to heels. Deep inhale. Exhale, swim it forward. Bring it back to plank, drop the knees down for a moment. So you can do the same thing we've just done. We got one more round. Or you can stack the feet right on top of each other. All right, so you can go back to using the knee to support the same thing we just did, or one more, we got one more level. Excuse me. All right, so we're gonna come into plank, or you can do this all on the forearms or with the knees. Coming onto the right side first. This time I'm stacking my feet on top of each other. Inhale. You might stay right here. You might play around with lifting that top leg. Swim it forward, taking it to the other side. Inhale, right arm up. Maybe star. Keep that right hip up. Swim it forward. Bring it back to plank. Woo, downward facing dog. Deep inhale. Exhale, side out. Inhale to the tiptoes. Exhale, bring it to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, deep fold. Tuck the chin. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Reach nice and tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. Pausing here for a moment. We're going to play with one balance pose. We're going to do strength pose. We're going to do balance pose. We'll get back to a round of flow. So we're going to come into our tree pose here. So planting both feet firmly, spread the toes, and then you're going to go onto the right side first. So I'm going to kickstand my right foot onto my left ankle, and I'm going to focus on opening my hip. Anytime I start to bring that leg up and my hip closes, I've gone too far. So I'm going to start with just at my calf. You can have your hands together or hands on your hips. I'm going to maybe grab that foot and bring it up to the inner thigh if it's available, but look at my hips staying open. So this knee is really coming out. If you start to go like this, bring it down a level. All right, so your arm variation of choice, but wherever you are, your arms are active. So if you're pushing into the hands, keep doing that nice and firmly. If you want to try to grow the arms up, either take a wide tree, or I like to kind of do what I call, Charlie's Angel. So I do that mudra where I point the fingers up, and then I really hug my triceps in towards my ears, where I pull my shoulder blades down my back. Kind of feel like I'm doing like a pencil dive with the tree pose. One more deep breath on this side. So slowly reverse. We're going to bring the hands down to heart center. All right, if you can, we're going to try to bring that knee forward. Hug that knee into the chest. I know that left foot is probably starting to scream. All right, see if you can bring that knee out to the side. Hands can help balance here. You can move at heart center. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, bring it down. So just taking, when we think something is over, just taking ourselves past that point and just pushing ourselves a little bit further. Spread the toes, sink the feet down. Left foot comes to our kickstand. Bring that knee out nice and wide. Hands to hips or hands to heart center. Find that drishti point, that focal point to help you balance, and then slowly bring that foot up to the calf. All right. Maybe this side is different from the other, and that's okay. If it's available, you can lift that left foot into the inner thigh. My inner thigh pushes back on the foot. Resistance there. Find your arm variation of choice. Maybe grow your branches. Maybe you want to take like a cactus pose and squeeze the shoulder blades a bit. Maybe you want to interlace the fingers, all sorts of stuff you can do. One more deep breath wherever you're at. We're going to bring the hands back down first, so we're reversing, taking it nice and slow. We're gonna bring that knee forward, bringing the knee into the chest. Exhale, we're gonna bring that knee out to the side. Maybe use that other arm to help you balance. You can have the hand to heart center. Gonna try to bring that knee back in and down. Ooh, nice work. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, dive on down. We're just gonna walk your hands back into downward facing dog. So you should be on, yeah, back there. We're gonna come into a little bit of flow. Inhale that right foot up, three-legged dog. Let's open the hips. So let the heel drop towards the bum, point the knee up to the sky. Maybe gaze under that right armpit. Take a deep inhale here as you exhale, bring that knee forward. Come step it in between the hands. This time we're coming to high lunge. So we're gonna come all the way up. Knee stays over ankle, back leg gets as straight as it can. Fire up and push out through that back heel. Inhale the arms up. As if you have a beach ball in your hands above you. The arms are super active. Shoulder blades and shoulders are down the back away from the ears. If this doesn't feel good on the shoulders, just push the hands together at heart center. One more deep breath here. Inhale. Exhale, we're gonna open to warrior two. So twist that back hip, that left foot down. Open the arms out. Knee stays over ankle. That back leg is straight as you can get it. Really push into that left edge of your foot. See if you can try to balance your weight as much as possible between the 2 feet. So we tend to kind of lean forward into that front leg. Find that resistance where you're pushing into both feet equally. Gaze out over that right middle finger. Inhale, flip that front palm to come to reverse. You can have that hand down the leg or you can wrap it back behind. Deep inhale here. Exhale, transitioning to side angle. So our forearm is going to come to our thigh. Inhale, that left hand can come straight up or it can come forward. You notice wherever you're at, the shoulders away from the ear. So really engage that shoulder blade back. Next inhale, we're going to come to reverse. Once more. Exhale, windmill it all the way down. Step that right foot back to plank. You can push back to down dog or take a flow. Once we're there, deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, side out. Next inhale, we're gonna lift that left foot up. Same thing, other side. Let the heel drop towards the bum. Point that left knee up. Open the hip. Exhale, come to step it in between the hands. Bring yourself up to that high lunge. Knee over ankle. Back leg as straight as you can get it. Fire out through that back heel. Inhale, arms up overhead or hands into the chest. Active wherever the hands are. Lengthening nice and tall out of the hips. Deep inhale. Exhale, push to warrior two. Sink it down. Knee over ankle, back leg straight. Gaze out over that left middle finger, finding that balance between both legs. Pushing into that back edge of your foot. Inhale, flip that front palm, coming to reverse. Hand can be down the leg or back behind the back. Get a nice side stretch here. Deep inhale. Exhale, forearm comes to thigh. Hand can come straight up or bring it alongside the head. One more deep breath in side angle. See if you can get that knee over your ankle, sink it down. Inhale, coming all the way to reverse. Exhale, windmill it down. Step it back. Lower down. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, we have got one more little strengthener. So we're gonna slowly let our forearms come to the ground here. All right, if this is already intense for you, just wiggle the toes back. Don't have them so close, and it won't give you so much pressure. If you can, maybe walk the toes a little closer and really feel the shoulder blades stretch. You can drop the crown towards the mat, but it shouldn't touch the mat, or you can gaze in between the hands. You can just focus on breathing and holding here, or you can play with doing a little leg lift. So we're blending a little bit of shoulder stretching and a little bit of shoulder strengthening. Let's try to take 2 more deep breaths. Of course, come down if you need to. Slowly, we'll all lower the knees down, sit the hips back, and come into a child's pose. You might bring the palms together and bring the palms then back to the shoulder blades. Or you can bring the hands alongside the body, grab onto the feet. Reconnect to the breath, to the intention. And then we're going to slowly bring ourselves up onto our knees. All right. So we're going to come into that little bit of inversion time now. So you have lots of options. You could come into a shoulder stand. I think I will model a little bit of prep for headstand today, but of course you do what you want to do. So you could just bring the legs up the wall. You could bring the legs up the wall, but put a couple of pillows under your hips to raise the hips higher than the heart. You could do our usual shoulder stand, but I'm going to just show a couple tips if you're practicing or want to practice headstand. So I'm going to move my computer real quickly. So if you would like to work on practicing headstand, you might bring your mat towards the wall. And I'll give you a couple of options from first try ever to second or third try ever, I don't know. All right, so what I do is I basically am like, could be doing like a downward facing dog, right? My hands are at the wall, but then I drop the knees down just so you have an idea of the distance. And then I clasp my hands together, interlacing my fingers together. All right, and really it depends how far you go away based on how big or small your booty is. But you might just, I guess I'm about a half foot away from the wall. It's gonna catch you, it's gonna be there. It might just be closer than you expect. Once you have that interlace, you're gonna put the back of your head at that interlace. So my hands are pulling towards my head and my head is pushing back and the crown of my head is on the ground. And then I kind of hug these arms in, not too tight, but to make like a triangular shape. And I push really hard into my forearms and then I can tuck my toes. And this is really step 1, headstand 101. I think about lengthening my neck. Keep pushing into the top of my head like it's a limb. It has a pretty uncomfortable feeling for first timers. So sometimes this just might be where you stay, is right here today. If you want to go a little further, you can play with walking the toes a little bit closer to the face, because the goal is to get the hips over the shoulders. And you'll feel like you're maybe going to roll back, but the wall's there. And keep lengthening the neck, pushing in to the forearms, and then you might play with lifting a leg or another leg. All right, you'll see which leg can I lift higher. Usually there's one that you can lift a little higher than the other. For me, it's my right leg. So I lift my right leg then, and I think about, I'm gonna like use this as a little springboard with my knee, and I just wanna get my knee into my chest. All right, my foot's gonna come up and hit the wall. Right, and I'm just working on that little spring action. And I might not even like stay in the headstand today, just work on that little spring kick. But so what we tend to do is we start to lower this back leg, lower this back leg. You want to keep it as high as you can get it for that kick. And eventually, if you can get it high, you can maybe lift that left leg and pause for a few breaths. Yes, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable if you're doing your first headstands, but we eventually can spend some time there. Once you've done a headstand, you always want to take a little child's pose after, and I like to stack my hands in a fist, and this just lets the neck neutralize and lengthen. And then after a few breaths here, I usually take a second round. So you're likely all doing something totally different, but I'll just model one more round of that and you guys can keep doing what you're doing. The goal is in a headstand maybe, well, it's different for everyone, of course, like all yoga, but I think about 10 deep breaths in an inversion, up to 15 breaths is a really good place to get to like really get the benefits of the inversion. So I'm gonna go through that one more time. I'm interlacing my hands, putting the back of my head into that palm, pushing the palm to my head pushing back, crown of my head pushing in, and then I'm really pushing into my forearms. And when I push into my forearms, my shoulders automatically go away from my ears rather than tucking up close. So I push, and then I'm gonna tuck my toes, walk my toes in. All right, finding that sweet spot on my head. I say my pinkies are kind of like underneath that back part of my head, so they're cradling it a bit. And then I'm gonna get to my tiptoes and play with lifting a leg, maybe another leg. For me, my right leg lifts higher, so then I'm gonna play with that little bounce, back, bounce, back. Always have to be thinking about pushing into the forearms and keeping my shoulders away from my neck. And then I zip my legs together once I get up there. Take a few breaths. Over time, if you are well-versed in the headstand, you'll start to work on really using the core to bring the feet away from the wall, and even working on bringing the core super tight so you can bring both legs down at the same time. That's something I've been practicing enough of lately. And then letting that neck lengthen. So we're about 5 to 6 breaths away from transitioning back onto our backs on the mat. To do a little bit of back bending and twisting before we take our Shavasana. It's nice to take a good 5 rounds of breath in that child's pose after you invert. We're coming on to our backs. And once you're there, you're gonna point the knees up. Feet are flat on the ground, and your knees, ankles, hips are all in alignment. And then you're gonna think about tucking the tailbone to really smooth out the lower back on the mat. You're gonna push the hands into the mat. Once again, thinking about the shoulders, blades down the back, squeezing. And as you inhale, pushing into the feet, you're gonna lift the hips up into your bridge. Might be able to tuck those shoulder blades underneath to give yourself a little bit more height. And then really focus on just looking up. or closing the eyes. 2 more deep breaths. Deep inhale. Use your exhale to transition back down. Bring the bum towards the heels, lengthening the spine. Windshield wiper legs left and right. And I like to take the gaze to the opposite way my knees go so that the twist is all the way through the spine. Coming back to center, we'll take a second round. We're doing 3 rounds in total. So if you do have a full wheel in your practice and you want to take that third round or 2 rounds, whichever. Inhale as you bring that lower back down and lift. Wiggle those shoulder blades under. Maybe you can clasp the hands this time. Push into that fist, bring the palms together. Really push the hips up nice and high. Keep those knees over the ankles. Breathe deeply into the belly. Slowly releasing the palms, untucking the shoulder blades, and then lengthen the bum towards the heels. Windshield wiper. All right, so as we get into round 3, you can take either round we just did. I'm going to show a little preparatory. If wheel is something you want to work on, I've got like a middle of the road between bridge and wheel that I like to practice to kind of get myself ready for wheel someday if my lower back isn't there yet. All right, so same setup, but you're going to bring the hands just next to the ears, and the elbows are going to point straight up. This is all optional, right? You take bridge if you don't want to practice this. And then you're going to squeeze the elbows towards your face as you push into the hands. So we're just going to the top of the head. So take a deep inhale. Bring yourself just to the top of the head. All right, crown of the head, similarly to our headstand, and I'm going to stay here for 3 breaths. If this does not feel good for you, just bring yourself back down. All right, this is 1 step away from pushing yourself up into that full wheel. So I still have the back bend. I'm just working on that next step. 1 more deep breath. I'm going to tuck the chin first and then roll myself back down. Release the hands and take that windshield wiper left and right. You want to avoid bringing the knees into the chest too soon after a back bend. So then we'll bring the knees to the hands and just start to massage and circle. And then bring it the other way. And now we'll bring the knees into the chest, give it a tight squeeze. Maybe bring that head out. And rock side to side. And let the knees fall over to one side. Open the arms out to a T. Gaze over that other direction if it feels okay. So we're starting to wind down. Next, inhale, bring yourself through center. Exhale, bring the knees over to the other side. Gazing to the opposite side if it feels okay on the neck. In these last still moments to connect with that intention. Next, inhale. We're coming back to center. Take any last movements that might feel good. Maybe you want to take a happy baby or 1 more twist, a little butterfly. We're working our way to our Shavasana though. So if you are ready, bring yourself there. If there's a couple more little adjustments you need to make with the body, take the time to do that. We're working our way to our corpse pose where we can relax the feet all the way to the crown of the head. Maybe even putting a towel over the eyes, just coming into total surrender mode. Releasing the muscles in our feet, around our ankles and calves, up through our knees. Releasing our thighs, glutes, hips, let them sink into the earth. Releasing through the abdomen, the core, all the way out to the fingertips. Let the shoulders sink down. Relax your jaw, your face, the brow, all the way to the crown of the head. Let yourself just simply be. All the doing is over. Surrender. And gently begin to deepen your breath. Inviting tiny movements to the fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Eventually coming into a full body stretch. And as you exhale, bringing the knees into the chest. And rolling on to your favorite side. Pausing in the first posture our bodies ever knew. Taking a moment here to connect with a piece of gratitude from your day. Something that made you feel just full of joy or bliss, no matter how small. And as you're ready, bringing yourself up to a comfortable seated posture, keeping the body and the eyes restful. Bring the palms together and begin to rub the palms to create heat and energy. And we'll cover the eyes. May we use this energy to see the beauty within ourselves and with others. Bringing the palms together once more. This time we'll cover the ears. May we use this energy to hear positive thoughts about ourselves and others. Last time, we'll cover the heart. May we use this energy to live our truth and love ourselves fully. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Namaste.